Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rob Ryan, and welcome to Veterans News. I want to thank all the people from Nassau County, Suffolk County, and New York metropolitan area for tuning in. My guest today is Sean Duclay. He runs an organization called SailAhead, and it's an amazing organization where he takes veterans out on sailboats, and they find the therapeutic nature of the water that helps them deal with things like PTSD. Before I get in, I just want to thank Erica Bradley and Rebecca Levine for helping us use this studio here at Lake Success. Very much appreciated. We couldn't put on this good news show without your help, and all the guys and cameramen behind the scene doing great work. Ed Allman wanted me to mention veterans that have recently passed away, and I just want to briefly mention this before we get into the show with our guest. First off, there is a Bob Noonan, who was 80 years old. He was a sergeant in the Marine Corps and became a chief of the Hempstead Fire Department. And it always amazes me that, you know, veterans are, not only do they serve their country, but long after they leave the military, they continue with the services throughout the rest of their lives, and this is a clear case with Bob. There was Angelo Rum. He served as a corporal in the Korean War. After the war, he became an electrical engineer and was a lifelong clarinet and saxophone player. Michael Ragusa, he was aged 93. He was from Port Washington, a Navy veteran of the Korean War. He became a narcotics agent, a sky marshal, and he was a guard for the presidents of the United States. John Bacter was in the Army during the Vietnam War, and he rose to the rank of major in the reserves. There was Michael Valentin, who was 89 years old. He was a veteran of the U.S. Army and a retired NYPD detective. And Michael Farrell, an 84-year-old veteran from Lynbrook, Long Island, was a skilled marksman in the Army, and he became a senior supervisor with the Postal Service. And with that, I want to introduce my dear friend, Sean Duclay.
Thank you, Rob.
We had the chance to honor a veteran that sadly took his life. And it's hard to understand how such wonderful people like Mike Blanco, which you could maybe say a little something about what you're holding there, but yeah. I will say this, that we took a bunch of veterans out onto the water on Sunday, and to honor this man, and his whole family was there with nothing but love, compassion, lots of emotion, as we all tossed roses into the great South Bay in honor of Mike. He was loved by everyone, and it's tragic when this happens to the people that serve our country. That said, tell us a little bit about the organization and how it got started.
Certainly. First of all, we're called SailAhead, although we do sail around a lot, so you're half right. But so SailAhead was founded by myself and my brother in the winter of 2014, and the idea was to use sailing as a therapeutic platform to help heal the scars of war, or the invisible scars that are the invisible wounds suffered by our veterans. And they can take many shapes: anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, just feeling ostracized because the people you served with when you come back home are all across the United States and not in the barracks with you every day. So sailing provides a unique feeling of camaraderie. You know, without the team working cohesively, you simply won't get to your destination. So it forces teamwork, it builds camaraderie, and then if you have, you know, I am a civilian, so sometimes relating to veterans can be difficult. So bringing veterans together and their families is a great way to really facilitate community and connection, and that's what we try to do as often as we can.
How old were you when you and your family started this program?
I was 13 and my brother was 15, and we've been sailors our whole life. That's thanks to our parents. We were actually frostbiting, which is when you sail in the winter, out of Oyster Bay on Hobie Cat 16s. And one day, when we were getting ready to go to school, high school at the time, we heard on the news a reporting about a study that the VA did that found at least 22 veterans were taking their lives every day. To us, We grew up in two worlds. Our dad is French. We all have French and American citizenships. And one thing that's really interesting about France is that in every town, you have monuments to the sacrifices of the people who perished in World War I and II. And there's definitely a certain awareness of an appreciation for, in particular, the American military and the American youth that came, and many of whom sacrificed themselves on the beaches of Normandy or anywhere else in France so that we could speak French as opposed to German. So we were always imbued with this deep appreciation, and when we heard that at least 22 veterans were taking their lives every day, we thought this was crazy, and with our youthful, perhaps you'd call it naive, spirit of wanting to change the world, we set out to take a veteran sailing, and he was from the Vietnam War. The first veteran we took out, we went, now as a 26-year-old, thinking back on taking a Vietnam veteran on a dinghy in the winter, I would not advise that, but he was down for it, so we went. We cut the sail a little short. I had a little bit of anxiety. I was like, oh no, maybe he didn't like it. But when we got back on the beach, he gave myself and my brother a hug, and he started crying. We hugged him back, and we were crying too. And that's when we asked him, Fritz, why are we crying? And then he said that
oh my God, that's great.
He had been going to therapy to treat his PTS for 20 years, and that was the best therapy he ever had. So maybe it started out naive, but we stumbled into something really powerful, and we've been rolling with that and kind of pivoting and adapting ever since. And now we've taken almost 5,000 veterans sailing since that period, and hundreds of skippers, sailboat owners, volunteers across Long Island, also in Tacoma, Washington, and Buffalo, New York. Hundreds per year. We get together. We show veterans that we really appreciate what they've done, that they're not forgotten, and especially that our mates are not forgotten. And so these are our mates, as you mentioned, and they are the name tags of over 219 veterans who've died by suicide. So it stands to reason that if at least 22 veterans were taking their lives when we founded SailAhead, that every 10 days you would have this many casualties here at home. So we take our mates with us to keep their memory alive, talk about them as often as we can. This past weekend, you came to a SailAhead event.
Yes.
2 days ago at the Babylon Yacht Club. It was our 6th annual event honoring Michael Blanco, U.S. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Michael Blanco, who was almost 19 when he took his life. So the purpose of this event is to bring a bunch of veterans together, show them that the community is strong, that there are people out there who care for them, and that's often all you need to turn a mood around. And one thing that's been constant since the beginning of SailAhead is that I grew up sailing, so for me sailing is fun, but I think you add the fact that my whole family helps out. It's not just my brother and I, but my younger sisters, my parents, friends. We all help out to create a really special day, highlighting our appreciation for veterans, and making sure that those who've lost their lives, whether by their own hand or by the hand of the enemy, that they're not forgotten, that we love them, and that if anyone else is thinking those dark thoughts, that they should come and join the family, and that's kind of the idea of the whole organization.
It was an amazing Sunday afternoon as Mike Felix, a member of this TV crew, and I went to meet Sean and his family, and they are a beautiful bunch. What they feel in their heart and what they give to every one of us every day in our veteran society, they're doing God's work. Michael's grandmother told us a story about how devastated she was when Michael took his life, but she told me about a scene when he came home from a leave, and he surprised her. He walked into the church, and when the church saw Michael come in, they all stood up and applauded him. and Grandma was sitting in the front pew, turning around to see what all the commotion was, and she saw her beloved walking down the aisle, and that's her memory. And as she tells the story, it's so heartfelt. It's so tough to lose someone, 19 years old, you said, so young. So we all went out on Sunday. The Duclay family had roses for all the boats that went out. How many boats went out approximately?
10 boats.
About 10 boats. And I would say, if I had to guess, there were probably 6 or 7 veterans on each one of those boats that went out. And we went out into the Great South Bay and sailed under the Captree Bridge. And the feeling that you get when you're on the open water, it's tranquil, it's relaxation. And we had a chance to think of some of the stories we heard about Michael that day. And we took that in our prayers and in our minds, and as we sailed around, and then we all dropped roses into the Great South Bay. And it was just a beautiful moment. And your family is unbelievable. And to see how they interacted with everyone, it's a beautiful thing. So how does a veteran who doesn't know anything about your program, how do they get to you? How do you get to them? How do you select who goes and who doesn't go? What's that communication all about?
Well, we have various friendships, I would call them, with organizations like the American Legion, especially the Green Lawn American Legion Post 1244, Northport 694, and many others. We know individual veterans just by being so involved in this part of the community for over 10 years. And social media definitely plays a big role, and our website. So if anyone wants to get involved, they need to simply reach out. The easiest way would be to go to the website, click on the contact form, put your email, and then for future sailing opportunities, I'll keep everyone in the know. And then come and the goal would be to have a good time. And it costs nothing to the veterans to come and sail with us.
How many places do you sail out of?
We primarily sail out of Oyster Bay, and in this season, which is from May to November, we'll sail an average of twice a week in Oyster Bay, with a third time being on a birding boat, a boat that we are citizen scientists, and we keep track of all the species of birds and the number of birds per species that we find, and then we submit that to eBird, which is the largest national bird database. So we put veterans to work.
Great.
Citizen scientists. Yeah. Yeah.
So not only are you taking them out to have a sailing experience, but you're actually, helping them, be one with nature. What happens what do you watch from you get close to the shore and
Yeah, we're either on a sailboat or a classic powerboat, and that's thanks to our partnership with the Sterling Harbor Foundation, and they manage about 24 classic boats, many of which they allocate to us every year. And that's why we're able to sail so frequently, is because there's always races Thursdays and Fridays in Oyster Bay. So if you really want to get good at sailing, there's no better place than in a competitive environment where there's so many other boats, and you can copy this boat and try some new tactics, and if they fail, then at least you can figure out why, and then next week come back and try again. And we've won many races. We've lost equally, probably more races than we've won. But at the end of the year, there's a ceremony. We received a cup, and its purpose, its achievement, and yeah, it's great.
The types of boats that you're using, the one that I was on was probably 60 feet, long. There were some older people. What are there restrictions for who you will? I mean, you had a 94-year-old man get on one of those boats.
Yeah, Arnie.
Which was pretty amazing. But are you concerned about the well-being of the veteran in terms of would there be something to prevent you from allowing someone to go onto the boat?
So far, the way we determine that is by using common sense, and if we and the veteran feels like we can make it work, then we'll make it work. sometimes we'll help you get on the boat or we'll carry you. But we've had amputees before, veterans that don't have are missing limbs, and Arnie, who's a Korean War veteran who was 94. So it's we use common sense and consensus to determine whether we think it can work. And we've had World War II veterans come with us, and generally speaking, apart from like severe seasickness, most people try and come and they end up loving it. So,
are you looking to grow the program, or are you pretty happy with the level that it's at? Because the follow-up to that question would be, how do you encourage people to help you help the vets? I mean, you only have access to X amount of boats. So what do you do to try to, get some new players? I look at the Northport Harbor or the Centerport Harbor. There's hundreds of sailboats out there, And do you solicit and try to get volunteers to volunteer their boat?
So, yeah, you're onto something there. There are around 76,000 veterans in Suffolk County, and we sail all around Long Island, and obviously we can't take them all on one boat, our boat. Yeah. So yeah, we find that there's plenty of goodwill in the community. People want to help people, and once people are aware of the veteran suicide epidemic, which has definitely gotten better over the years, the awareness has grown. They want to help. So if you present them with a way to help, they're perfectly happy to jump on board. So we sail multiple times a week in Oyster Bay, but we also leverage the goodwill of the boat-owning community. And you mentioned Centerport. The Centerport Yacht Club is our oldest and staunchest yacht club partner. And so I think we're going to have next year will be our 9th annual event with them. And the biggest event we organized with them, we had 53 sailboats, 2 helicopters, and around 300 veterans that went out. Arizona sponsored helped sponsor the food, and it was, it's a fabulous. It's an incredible event. The American Legion riders are there from Post 1244 to escort the mates to the yacht club. We have a ceremony. Some of the families of our mates are given the opportunity to speak on behalf of their loved ones and on behalf of veterans who are struggling everywhere. And it's just really about showing solidarity, coming together, and as cheesy as this sounds, making friends and becoming family by the end of it, because we share in something that's so deep and special. So we do have events with various yacht clubs and maritime organizations all over the place, and also with individual skippers that are willing. And I'm very thankful to them, because without them, it would significantly reduce our impact. But thanks to skippers, we're able to outsize our impact, because we can take so many more veterans out on the water.
Right.
And last year we took 500 veterans sailing. Next year I would like to take more. I'd like to expand geographically as well, new parts of the country, and grow a racing team.
Well, my commitment to you is that I will find you sailboats and sailors.
Thank you.
Because we're blessed to be living where we live, and there's a number of people out there that I will introduce you to that will help you. Are there concerns about you're putting people on a boat. Some of them are very capable of getting on and off, and some of them may not be. Or look at all the things that can happen while you're on a boat.
Yeah.
So what happens with things like, the business end of this, the insurance policies that have to be adhered to, or some governance that you have to adhere to? Any of those things that we should know about?
There are waivers we will request veterans to sign that basically say, it's funny because there's a part on the boat, there's a mast, which is the vertical pole, and then there's a boom, which is a horizontal pole. And the boom is named thus because the sound it makes when you're maneuvering and against someone's head, so that's called a boom for that.
For good reason.
So yeah, the waiver just basically says I recognize that I'm not going in a safe, like that there's a risk of injury, and with the yacht clubs we partner with, generally they have an umbrella policy that covers any accidents, but I think we've been lucky. We've been really lucky that so far no one has taken issue with us.
Good.
So,
Good.
yeah.
What are your biggest concerns in terms of, you put a fabulous event together this Sunday. It took a lot of people to do that. You had food for everybody. Who raised the dollars for the food? How does that come about?
Well, in the case of our event at the Babylon Yacht Club,
Yeah.
it's the yacht club that was so generous enough to supply everything, and the staff was taking care. Staff and volunteers, volunteer members took care of cooking everything, having the food out, which is really, I think, a testament to how much people believe in what we're doing. So. Yeah. Otherwise, if any organization we're partnering with needs help because financially it is a burden, then we'll go out and knock on the doors of businesses to try and figure out a way. We don't like any reason to stop an event, so we try to make it happen no matter what.
Got it. Got it. How do you raise money?
Do you have $20?
Yeah. 100%.
Well, we ask people. I outreach to businesses. I didn't go to school. I went to school for history and decided that this was what I wanted to do, pursue SailAhead. And so I'm learning as I go, but pretty much just asking people for money.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have some organizations have a gala once or twice a year where they, bring everybody in, the bands and music and food, and then they, are usually honoring somebody for something that they did that was spectacular.
Yeah.
Do you do those things?
No. Somehow it seems more intimidating than organizing a sailing event to me. But
Okay. Well, you had, interestingly enough, you had a young lady there on Sunday. Her name was Rena Sylvester, where she runs an organization that actually feeds veterans every single week. And she's a great contact and resource for the Duclay family to get to know. And she's actually having an affair coming up, I believe October 16th, also in Babylon at the Piermont. And that's to honor all the Vietnam vets. And she'll raise a good deal of money. And anything that you might need help with establishing something like that, I know something that you've got people like myself that will be delighted to help you in any way that we possibly can, because what you're doing is nothing less than spectacular.
Thank you very much.
Are there other than trying to raise dollars from here, are there any things that you could really use help with that we could tell the people listening in that you might be something that would really help your organization?
I think the number one thing is probably just to share. If you hear about us, to share it, because it helps veterans, and it also helps, it gives us more opportunities to be helped by people who have resources or ideas that we don't have, and those are always valuable. Some people, we are a resource of the New York City Mayor's Office for Mental Health Services. So we have veterans coming out from Staten Island regularly to Oyster Bay, which is like a 2-hour one-way commute. So, if you have a sailboat and you're closer to Staten Island than Oyster Bay is, let me know. And yeah, just get involved, reach out if you feel the desire to help, and we need help, so we'll put you somewhere.
There's every May, May is Mental Awareness Month, and that might be something that your organization can begin to think about, because that's a beautiful time of year. It's a great time for sailing. It's a great time to talk up some event that really might play into your hand perfectly. So, to be continued on that subject. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the group that maybe I haven't stumbled upon as of yet in terms of the questions that I'm asking?
I just, excuse me. I just want to share that it really does work, what we're doing. And I know that because veterans have told me over the years, they've said as much. For example, at the event at the Babylon Yacht Club, there was a veteran who wasn't able to come, but we've known her for 10 years. She wanted to come, but she had car trouble, besides the point. But she called me at the end of the event and said, sorry I wasn't able to come. It would have been nice to go sailing. However, I just want you to know that, you know, my son is going to college now, and, you know, we're thriving, and all of this is thanks to, I mean, or at least you can feel satisfied knowing that you've played a role in where my family is now, because 10 years ago, she was not in a very good place, and we were there for her. And we insisted on her coming, even when sometimes she didn't feel up to it. And you know, she says we've saved her life, and she's not the only one who said that. And it's a pretty incredible feeling. And you know, this is what we want to do. This is what we decided that we're going to work on improving.
Amazing. Well, Sean, I really want to thank you for coming today. You know, again, I think we're filled every day. You turn on the news, you hear nothing but bad stuff. But it's people like Sean and his family that are doing God's work and really helping vets help each other. And we don't know what the cause of all of these young souls. We don't know what was in their heads, but they were very troublesome. You know, I've met a vet at the Vets Out of the Rough program in Northport. I won't share the names, but one vet came up to me and pulled me aside one day, and he's living with, you know, he was over in Iraq, and he would go out on duty and find out what's going on, and one of the company clerks wanted to go out and join him that day. And this soldier said, no, that would not be a good idea. But he basically begged him, please, I want to feel what it's like to be a real Marine. And so he took him out, and that, unfortunately, that soldier did not survive that day. It's this kind of feeling that our veterans, you know, they make a decision, and they have to live with that decision. And none of us know what it's like, unless you have been in combat, unless you know what it's like to go out there in the field and see what these people have seen and experience what these people have experienced. It's very tough, and this is the proof of that very situation. So again, I want to thank you for how you're helping all of these people. You've done amazing work.
Thank you so much,
really
Rob.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.